Hi guys. In today's video, we will be looking at what if Civilization started over episode 6. If you do enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe. Last episode, there was the First Mediterranean War, where there was the collapse of the Purple Team and the exploration of Asia. But to start this episode, a new country starts in China. And they slowly but peacefully expand. And they keep going. And after asking their people, they start expanding quicker. But to move over to Mesopotamia, there is a group of people who dislike how many war Mesopotamia is getting into. And they quickly expand. But instead of facing resistance, they only get stronger as more and more people join. Until they reach the main forces who push back. And with the blue team joining the war, it seems all over for them. But they get a letter from a certain country that would like to join on their side, and they accept. And they keep going. And that team officially joins the war, and it turns out to be the Cyan team. But instead of going straight in, they kick the red team ships out of the Black Sea. But this is all while the red team push back the rebels. And they keep going. But the rebels get weapons from the Cyan team. And the Cyan team make a push of their own. And they go into the rich UAE, and with most red team people fighting the rebels. There is no resistance. And with the red team economy being crippled, they nearly surrender. And with the rebellion keeps going. All the way till they encircle the capital. But while the Cyan team keep pushing in, they receive a letter saying, "Let us help you, you will win." And seeing that they say yes. And with that, the Romans join the war. And the blue team attack the rebels, pushing them back. But with most of their people in the red team capital, they pull some out. And the red team simply walk through the forces, letting them through. And they cut out, but they fell into the rebels' trap as they cut them up. All into separate groups. But the red team break out. And as the letter reaches the Roman leader, they send navy ships and cavalry. And they immediately get pushed out. As the last people jump into the sea and are never seen again. And with many forces now, they push back. And they surrender. Next, the German Bavarian team start to expand. And they stop. But then the Dutch team also start to try and meet up with them. But next, the green team in Africa completely collapsed and other countries take advantage. The blue team start to take the south. The purple team takes the northwest. And a group in the green and yellow team rise up against their leader. And they quickly take the north. And push further down. But eventually they sign peace. And a new team starts in China. And they go down into the rich places and land. And the Irish and the London team form an alliance, and they declare war on the rest of the countries in the UK. They quickly push up the coast. But the Scots push back. And they push back up the coast. But the green team cut them into two. But they surrender. The Irish team push back up. And the green team surrender. And they push up into the Scots, encircling the capital. And they surrender and sign peace. But a group up in this city rise up and declare dictatorship. But many people dislike the idea, and after peace they aim to rise up into many separate groups. And they take many major cities. And the blue team can't hold back the numbers, but little does the green team know what's about to happen. They all get split up into their sections. But they come back stronger. And the lower part surrenders. Same with the northwest. And for the fifth time in history, the blue team capital gets encircled. But people start to betray their leader. And unknowingly, the blue team sign peace. But many of the groups rise up. And seeing that the green team surrender and sign peace. And more groups start to dislike their leader and rise up in the green team this time. And one starts in Georgia. But the green team send all their forces into this rebel. And another group this time in Pakistan rise up because sea levels start to rise and the king does nothing. and they quickly take a lot of land. And seeing this, the red team joins. With little to none people being up here, they quickly take it. And the other Indian team also joins. But they do push back. And they sign peace. And another group of people in China moves south to Southeast Asia. And some Vikings travel up to the northern parts of the Nordics. And they quickly take the whole thing. And a new country takes the rest. And the St. Petersburg team push into the unclaimed land. And they split the last bit. But next, the Gibraltar team declare war on the West African team. And their southern border joins in. And they take this major city, and with only the capital left, they race to it. And the Iberian team takes it. But the West African team don't stop at their border. They push all the way up to the Strait of Gibraltar. And the southern group surrender. But with the help of Rome, they push back in. And they surrender, and the peace treaty is drawn. And the purple team in Bangladesh start to expand. And a new group of people migrate south from the Dutch as they dislike their leader. And they keep going. And the light blue Baltic team expands south. And a new group migrate east from the newly formed gray team. And this team is very expansionist. And a tribal group in the Sahara decide to make their country. And as they find no water, they continue going. And the Irish team decide to sail north towards Iceland. and they take the whole thing. And a group of people in Crimea aim to become a republic. But they find a lot of people's interest, and they continue. And a new group of people decide that they want to create their own country. But in their first vote for king or government, they vote for someone who is communist. And with a communist government, they quickly turn to their west for land. But the ruler says not yet. But around the world, some sea levels start to rise. And Cape Verde sink into the ocean. And the coast of Africa. As very major cities start to sink. And this is what the coast looks like now. But over in the Indian Ocean, the same thing happens. As many islands sink. And some very important trade routes along the Indian coast. As the Siam Team capital and East Indian capital both sink. But underneath, sea levels drop and some big islands start to reform. And some people quickly travel to them. And they colonize the whole thing. But on the new islands, they find many valuable resources like gold, iron, and silver. That immediately puts them top spot on the power rankings. But over here on this island, the Iberian team and the West African team both race to the other island. And the Iberian team lands, but the African team close after. But the Iberian team gets cut off. And the West African team declare war on Iberia. But the Iberian team were ready and they push into surrounding the capital. And taking it. And the war ends. And a new country starts down in Southeast Asia. And they take the Malay Peninsula. and the Vietnamese team also expand. And this country is expansionist, so they do it very quickly. But the red team go up from their island and land in Myanmar. And they take the coast. And they bring their valuables with them, and people inhabit the landing. There is a new group of people in the Sahara that look to build their own country. And they quickly expand. And there is also one down on the Gold Coast. They become very big. And more floods happen, but this time on the British Isles. And they sink many major cities. But another group of people move on to the island that came from it and find more valuables. But this time the Sahara team start to expand. And at this point, independence becomes very important for people. So there now is a South African team. And they quickly become a powerhouse in Africa. And a Russian team comes up in Moscow this time. And they become very big. But that will do it for What If Civilization Started Over Episode 6. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. Thank you, bye.